What up, nerds, and welcome to another copywritten episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 459, recorded Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. Tonight we're talking about another Patreon pick. This was chosen by your boy Matt S. The movie is Night of the Living Dead from 1990. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randeezy. What's up, man?
You lame brains!
What's going on, lame brains? How you doing?
Dude, I am praying that you have a yo-yo's bump. That's that's gonna have to wait to be seen, I suppose. Oh, you tease. You're withholding, and I like it. It's a very horny show here. Last but not least, calling in from Florida, you got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy Yo-Yo Stains. Damn, you boys just taking. I had lame brain and yo-yos ready to go. You boys just biting my style over here.
We're all going for them low-hanging fruit.
Yeah,
that's true.
Technicolor stains, Romero stains.
I was going to do lame brain and bust into a quick little rap for my intro, but don't want to buy my boy Heidelberg style.
No reach arounds on this show. They're not.
I got a jaunty little rap for you fellas about lame brains.
The reach arounds are banned here at Straight Chilling. Okay.
Dang, whoa! Don't do that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh, boys. Matt, thanks for picking this week's flick. Before we get into it, let's tackle just a little bit of housekeeping real quick. Here's another reminder. Our February poll is currently posted on our Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this February. The theme for February is mad romance, and the movies you're voting on are From Beyond, Spring, and Byzantium.
Rah, 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 rah. Tell me how those numbers are looking.
Oh, hey, oh, hey. From Beyond.
Like that meme.
That meme. From Beyond is sitting at a very appropriate 69% of the vote.
Whoa, that is great to hear.
Byzantium is now solidified second place with 19% of the vote.
Okay.
And Spring with 13%.
I was looking.
Honey, Barbara.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I was looking either yesterday or today, and there was we still got quite a few votes left to go, though. Honestly, it's
get them in.
About half, I think. Yeah,
get them in there, folks.
Make use of that Patreon patronage.
Yeah. If you're shelling out the dough,
we offer so much. Eat of my body.
Some people like to hang out until.
We're putting it all out there for you people. Come on.
Very horny show tonight. Very horny.
Some people like to hang out until the very end and try to sway the vote a scotch, which I respect.
We got a lot of contra agents, a lot of eBay sellers out there.
Oh, shit. Yeah, get your votes in before the end of January. We'll see what we're talking about this February. In other Patreon news, we're dropping a mini-cast every other Friday. Last Friday, we dropped a mini-cast talking about the Shudder original called Destroy All Neighbors. That's available for you now. Coming up next is going to be dropping on Friday, February 2nd. We're going to have a hot new mini-cast talking about Saltburn, which is weird.
Whoa.
That is a weird movie.
I know. That's a hot one right now. That's a hot commodity. So.
Yeah, it is. We got to strike while that iron's hot, gentlemen.
We got to.
It's on Amazon, so it's pretty easy to find. That shit is not what I expected, by the way, which we're not going to review.
Christianity.
What the fuck is that movie?
Dude, me too, yeah.
God damn.
That's why it's so hot right now, Bob. You know?
So hot.
I'm last to the party. Yeah. I mean, I've just pieced together bits of information from the way people talk about this movie. I'm not excited.
Dude.
Whoa, Randy.
There's one scene that I have to assume you passed out, Juice, when you were watching.
Dude, I mentioned it specifically on the Slack, as I was watching it, I was like, I'm about to lose my head.
Fast forward a minute.
That's what a boy likes.
Yeah.
Trigger warnings for everything across the board.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking everything. All right.
Like nibbling on baby parts or some shit?
Dude.
Yeah, it's there. No.
Whatever you want, it's got it. It's got it all. Yeah, Saltburn's going to be dropping on Patreon February 2nd. And I think that's all the Patreon news we got. Do you guys have anything you would like to plug?
I got a couple things. So next Monday will be the first Creature Comforts of 2024. I'm going to be joined by a special guest, which I won't announce yet because we actually haven't recorded it yet. So just in case something happens, I have to call
this is
Bob
my
as a
special
backup.
guest, Angelina Jolie.
That's a professional right there. Like, it's not in the can. So,
Yeah, just in case. But we should, if everything goes smoothly, be talking on Monday about The Conversation, which is a Francis Ford Coppola film starring Gene Hackman, Harrison Ford. It's from 1974, and it's got an interest that my guest has an interesting like kind of tie-in to that film, which we'll talk about, during the show. Yeah. Cool. Gene Hackman, here he is.
Gene Hackman has been resurrected.
My boy.
He's still alive.
Yeah,
I think he's still alive.
Hackman is?
I think so.
I think so.
Who am I
He's
thinking
old,
of,
but I think he's alive.
I'm gonna have to look it up now.
Yeah. Damn, Randy's over here killing in the grave.
Whatever.
So that is our spinoff show that you can find exclusively on our YouTube page. And we'll be linking that to all the socials, of course. Also, too, this Friday we have a special bonus episode that will be coming out, and this is going to be an interview we're doing with a director named Barnaby Clay. He has a brand new, awesome horror film coming out called The Seeding, and this will be a spoiler-free interview, so you can check it out. We don't spoil any part of the movie. We just kind of talk about some of the things we kind of like about it, aspects, and pick his brain a little bit. And he was an awesome guest and really fun to talk to. So that will be coming out this Friday. So lots of bonus material coming out to wrap up January. Yeah.
And that'll be in our main feed too. That's not a Patreon exclusive. Definitely check out that interview. Find The Seeding. It comes out this Friday, the 26th. I think it's going to be on demand everywhere, and it's got a limited theatrical run. So check it out. It's really, really a solid movie. And that's The Seeding, like SEEDING.
Not The Seating. No, it's not a horror movie about deciding where grandma sits at your wedding.
Which is a nightmare.
God.
That is a nightmare, but it's not the horror that we're after.
Different kind of horror. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
Randy, you got anything?
Not a thing. We got some things down the pipeline, but some time to go yet.
All right. Squeaky clean.
Yep.
Bob?
I think so.
This house is clean.
Let's get into the main event. We're talking about Night of the Living Dead, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, looks like you got that box.
I have it right here, the blue box. Got it.
You got the whole Living Dead collection.
Yeah, I got them all.
Yeah, I figured.
I
figured as much.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
You have to.
You gotta do it. Diary
I'm
of
living.
the Dead?
I'm living in sin because I haven't done it.
Randy, I'm telling your mother. Oh my goodness.
I'm not a complete
Clergy's not going to be
person.
pleased with me.
You have to have things to fill you. Don't you know that?
To fill that gaping hole. in your
Gaping
soul.
hole. It's
Feel
either
it.
God or blues, one or the other. Night of the Living Dead from 1990. This is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 32 minutes. This is the only movie directed by your boy Tom Savini.
Whoa.
This was written by
Is it
George.
the only?
He gave up after this one.
He
huh?
did. He said, "Fuck that shit." Written by George A. Romero and John A. Russo. Tom Savini was handpicked to direct this remake by George Romero because they'd worked so closely together. Savini's
Interesting.
an effects guy. And this stars Tony Todd, Patricia Tallman, Tom Towles, some other folks. Plot synopsis brought to you by the back of the box is as follows. George Romero's original Night of the Living Dead transcended the world of horror movies to become a film classic hailed by audiences worldwide. The color remake by Tom Savini, Romero's longtime special effects makeup expert, brings all the nightmarish bone-chilling action to colorful life. Or is that death? It begins quietly with a brother and sister's visit to their family cemetery. The first attack comes without warning, forcing Barbara to leave her brother, lying bloodied, spoiler, and unconscious while she runs for refuge in a nearby farmhouse. Soon there are 7 desperate souls settled against the gathering darkness. 7 people with nothing in common but their terror of the hideous cannibals who claw at their windows and doors with an insatiable appetite for living human flesh.
Thanks for actually reading the back of the box, Bob.
You're welcome.
That's
Juice.
that one pulled no punches.
Yeah,
really kind of laid it all out there. A lot of these like blurbs we'll get are like 1-2 sentences.
Yeah, that's a
that
lot.
one. That one laid it out.
Gentlemen, had you seen this movie
Yeah, it
before?
was.
And would you recommend people check it out? Randeezy, kick us off.
Actually, no. I have seen the final, like, I want to say like 10 minutes of this movie at some point. Like I caught it on cable in teenage years at some point, and I was always like, oh, that's kind of nifty. I should check this one out. And like, just never got around to it. So yeah, it was a first timer for me. I think it's a recommend. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, if you are interested in sort of like a very classic zombie setup, this is exactly that. If you're interested in a gore showcase, you could do worse. Yeah, I think there's reasons to watch it. I don't think it's necessarily gonna like be a breakout hit. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a hit with just anybody. You kind of, I think, benefit a lot from being a horror dork like us. But yeah, I think it's worth watching.
All right, Juice, what about you?
Yeah, this one's kind of tough because the whole thing about it is like, would you recommend it? It's like, I think it's, as a film, it's good enough to recommend, but at the same time, I would just recommend the original.
Yeah,
because it's
this is strictly for
That's
people
the
who have
thing.
seen the original, I think.
Yeah, and mostly this is almost, kind of talking about the Living Dead collection or whatever. It's more of kind of like a curiosity or a kind of like complete the quest, watch all of them type of thing. I can't ever think of a situation where I would just be reaching for this one, but I do think it's good enough for people to watch. So generally, yes, I guess.
You will not die.
It is a movie
Well,
that you can watch.
You can, yeah.
Straight chilling.
You can.
That's a
watch.
high price.
So yeah. Bob, how about you? Would you recommend people check this out?
Yeah, I would recommend watching this. I do think if you are familiar with the original, you'll probably get more enjoyment from it, noting the changes that have been made. I do think it stands on its own 2 legs, though. Like it's a solid zombie flick in and of itself, but I do think there's an extra level of enjoyment if you kind of already know the original there. So that sounds like a blanket recommend, not like super stoked to recommend it, but a blanket recommend, I would say.
Yeah.
It's a warm blanket recommend.
Yeah, it is kind of
Cozy.
a warm little blanket horror movie. It's
No.
just like a little
No, it's
zombie
not.
movie. It's like,
Just a little
just a
guy.
little zombie movie. Yeah. So check this movie out. We're gonna be spoiling the shit out of it, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, do you have that plot synopsis?
I do. Thank you for asking.
No problem. Also, boys, this is like the first week in a little while where it's just been, the boys, the straight chilling boys.
Yeah.
Just
We've
the
had some good
boys.
guests, but
We
sometimes
have.
you just want your boys,
Just keep it down and dirty
Sometimes you just want to get down with your boy.
with your boys.
That's all.
Get down.
No one else.
Boys, let's get down with this plot synopsis, right? Yeah. Here we go. Barbara and Johnny visit their mom's grave in a small Pennsylvanian cemetery. They're attacked by a zombie and Johnny is killed. Barbara flees and finds a farmhouse to hole up in. A man named Ben arrives in a truck and helps Barbara fight off a few more zombies. The two form a bond and clear the house. They begin boarding up the doors and windows and discover people hiding in the cellar. Harry, his wife Helen, their daughter Sarah, who has been bitten by a zombie, as well as a young couple named Tom and Judy Rose. Harry suggests everybody should just hunker down in the cellar, but Ben says no, it's a death trap down there, and they should continue boarding up the doors and windows instead. Barbara notices how slowly the zombies are moving and suggests that they just leave on foot, walk right by them before more show up. The Cooper family ends up returning to the basement, and the others continue finding lumber in the house and reinforcing the doors and windows. The loud construction attracts more zombies to the house. The group ends up finding a set of keys they believe will unlock the nearby gas pump so they can refuel the truck and drive off. Judy Rose is apparently an expert driver, so she drives the truck. She ends up throwing Ben out of the bed. They do pull up to the gas pump, and apparently Tom realizes none of the keys work. He then tries shooting the lock off, causing the pump to explode, killing himself and Judy Rose. Ben makes his way back to the house and finds Harry has taken Barbara's gun from her. Meanwhile, in the basement, Sarah's turned into a zombie and bitten her mother. Sarah makes her way upstairs, and Harry refuses to shoot his own daughter. Ben takes aim, causing a shootout between him and Harry. Barbara ends up killing Sarah, and both Ben and Harry are injured. Harry hides in the attic while Ben hides down in the basement. He ends up finding Helen, who is a zombie, and he shoots her. He also finds the gas pump key has been down there the entire time and has a good little chuckle to himself before he ends up dying. Barbara takes off on foot and finds a group of locals who are killing off zombies and loading them in the back of their truck. The following morning, she wakes up in a camp surrounded by locals. The media is also interviewing the sheriff. A few of the locals are clearly drunk, and they have a zombie corralled, and they're taunting it. Some of the other zombies are hanging from a nearby tree, and they're being used for target practice. Barbara comments on the similarities between the living and the undead. She ends up returning to the farmhouse with some of the locals, and they find Ben has turned into a zombie. He is shot and killed. Harry comes down from the attic and finds Barbara. She shoots him in the head. He is not a zombie, by the way. And she tells the boys just to add him to the fire. The movie ends with a huge pile of dead zombies being burned outside the farmhouse. Roll credits.
Cute.
Yeah. Oh.
So actually going into this, I didn't realize like several things. Watching the credits, I was like, oh shit, Tom Savini. Didn't know that. Didn't realize that old Tony Todd was up in this bit. And so when he pulled up, I was, surprised, or maybe I saw his name first. But that was cool. And I didn't realize until Bob just announced it that Romero wrote this and was kind of like seeking people out to direct it. So that's interesting.
I think it's, another reason to kind of like get behind this remake is because of that. The original, they didn't trademark the name, so Romero didn't ever really make any money on it. This one, he obviously did make some money off of. So like, if you want to support the filmmaker in that way, like you could, by watching this, you give him a little bit of money, or I guess you did back in the day anyways, not so much now. So that's probably one of the reasons.
It'd be hard to get him some money now.
Yeah, he's unfortunately no longer with us.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of Tony Todd, though, when he got out of the truck, I'm pretty sure this came out before Candyman, but he has that giant hook in his hand, which was
the fucking crowbar is what it was. I was like, oh, that's got to be a reference, but you're right. Like this is pre-Candyman.
Weird foreshadowing. Cool. Yeah, wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's cool.
There's something about this movie that like I'm very endeared to this movie, even when I saw like the little bit that I saw, because the last bit of this movie is kind of the big, not twist, but like the big differentiator between this movie. Yeah. The big change is that Barbara, who was actively like not like basically an invalid
catatonic,
or catatonic. That's the right word. She was a catatonic mess in the original, and Ben was the surprise lead because it was unusual for a black man at that time to get the lead heroic role. And you kind of like are edging directly in that direction this whole movie up until about, I don't know, the beginning of the climax, maybe a little bit before. And Barbara starts like calling out Ben and Harry Cooper for being like fucking just arguing and like getting nothing done and like just being pig-headed idiots. And I really love that. So like when she is the one that survives and has clearly become the badass in the room and takes out Ben, I was very taken with that. But there's something like even beyond that, like this is so, I don't know. And maybe this is just after years of like Walking Deads and your whatnots that have been stacked on top of the zombie lore. It was nice to get back to basics, but in a way that wasn't exactly the original. I don't know, like this is close enough to the original to where it's like it feels like, I don't know, it feels homey somehow. Like I wasn't kidding when I said it's like a warm blanket, this movie. It feels familiar, but it's still fresh in its own way, or at least it's like it comes over you freshly. So I enjoyed that about it. It just like it's back to basics, without having too much tinkering or whatever. There's so many variations. It's nice to see just a rock solid from bare bones script. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys feel that way too.
Yeah, I mean, it is like straightforward kind of zombies. Nothing there. You don't need any kind of special names for them. They don't need to be run very fast or, they're just, they are what they are. And it's interesting because the shell of this movie, other than, the very ending, is it, on its surface, it does seem very similar, like kind of beat by beat, but in the details, there actually is like a decent amount of like changes because I also, it had been a while since I saw the original, a couple years maybe. So I just went ahead and watched it as well, just to remind myself. And yeah, I mean, I think there's enough changes here to make it fresh and like stand apart. Not always better choice, but different. Not necessarily even bad too, just different. And so yeah, it was a fun watch. It was fun.
I really like how, Randy, you were kind of touching on this a little bit here, how like Ben kind of comes in and he is the hero character that he is in the original. It does sort of pivot towards the end a little bit, but like he comes in and he's a very strong figure. Barbara is as well, but like he's really combative with Harry when Harry starts calling the shots, and they seem like very poor choices that Harry wants to make. And I think on paper, there's sort of like kind of 3 tracks that you can go. And on paper, I find myself thinking like, Ben's got the right idea. I would want to do what Ben is doing too. But at the end of the day, like Ben fucking dies. Everybody dies but Barbara in this movie. So like he's not right necessarily. The other tracks might not work out either, but they possibly could have. Because like if he had gone in the basement, maybe he would have found the gas pump key and then they could have fueled the truck up and left. Or earlier in the movie when Barbara's like, why don't we just walk right by these guys? They're super slow. Maybe if he had gone with her, they would have found the dude bros with the truck and like would have been safe because they had all kinds of guns and shit. But like him wanting to stay and like board up the house and stuff, which does make sense to me, like is ultimately his downfall. So like it's an interesting sort of like pivot. He's not really the hero. He's kind of just not, I don't know. He's not like
he's another guy.
He's a sympathetic figure, I think.
Sure, yeah,
In a lot of like he's one of your leads still. He's kind of revealed to be every bit as pig-headed as Cooper, which I thought was fascinating. Honestly, like it was really interesting because like every call he makes, for the most part that I can think of anyway, ends up being a bad idea in some way or another, or at least has a bad outcome. Staying in the basement might not have been such a bad idea. Maybe they wouldn't have seen anybody down there. Maybe they wouldn't have been drawn to you if they didn't see like lights on and shit like that. Like,
and all the hammering
and at one point he says
and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They explicitly show that the hammering is drawing them in. And then like there is also that moment where like kind of early on when they first see the zombies outside, where Barbara's like, look, they're so slow. Why don't we just like grab the key and go out and get this gas or whatever? And he's like, oh no! What it was the guy Reg's nephew or whatever. He's like, oh, he's got a key somewhere, and he's like, well, it's not worth looking for it right now. We may never find it. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like even as I'm sitting there like expecting him to be the hero, not really because I saw the ending already, but like that's clearly what they're pivoting, like pushing towards is like he's the lead character of this. Barbara's still a little bit non-active. And he's the sympathetic character. Even then, I'm still like, what are you talking about, man? Now is the time to do anything. You don't have any time after this. Yeah. So it's just interesting how they kind of split the script on that just a little bit. And it still led to a surprise and a movie that by most metrics isn't very surprising in the way that it approaches. It's in a way it attempts to recapture the original. Yeah. So that was the big surprise for me.
Well, another the big change, I think probably like the most significant change outside of just the way this ends is Barbara being a character, being an actual character this time around. And the thing is I thought that was definitely a positive change because I remember going back and watching the original. It makes a little bit more sense. She's obviously in shock. Her brother dies and then she sees a corpse like straight up. So it makes a little more sense, but this character's much better, Barbara. The problem I guess I have with it is it makes Barbara a much stronger character. It makes Ben a much weaker character. And it also adding this third option plus that whole aspect of the attic in the very end makes a lot of what we go throughout the rest of the movie seem very almost like tedious or superfluous, because it's almost kind of like a little meta about like, look how slow these fuckers are. We can just walk by them. And it's clear to see that that's true. And they don't quite hoard up as much as it, or like they don't seem to stress that aspect as much as in the original. And also too, in this one, Ben's boarding up and shit. It's more of like the whole like process, like through the whole movie, they're mostly spending time boarding up. And like in the original, he's kind of like done with it before the people even pop out of the attic. And it's like seems a lot more secure, where it's like even halfway through this movie, it's clear that the zombies are just breaking down the boards. And it's not good. And it's clear that it's not good enough. And so for Barbara to be like, hey, let's just walk past these things. They're so slow. And to have that kind of attitude and like as a viewer to be like, yeah, she's right. And then also to have several times where the zombies just knock down the fucking boards. I'm kind of like, that kind of takes a little bit of the piss out of it for me. Like it just like, it kind of loses some tense aspects. I'm like, yeah, just walk, literally just go walking. And she does, and she's okay. At the end of the day, she just goes for a stroll and she's fine. That's kind of stupid.
Barbara's like ultimate redemption from the original movie. It's like maybe not the most interesting way to end this, but I mean, yeah, they are slow as fuck. And I guess it's like, it is kind of comical. Like if you watch the original and you see how slow they are, I'm sure that's something that like Romero and everybody present day watching that movie would be like, well, they're so fucking slow. Like why?
Yeah.
Just walk at a normal pace and you'd probably be okay. So like them like including that line in the movie, she's like, look how fucking slow they are. We can just walk by him. It's sort of like a meta commentary on that, which is kind of funny. But and ultimately that saves her life. She does the least and it works.
I mean, I just find that so interesting. Like as much as I love the original and like it's definitely the superior film for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that it was inventing something, and so it gets that the credit for it where this one doesn't. I don't know. I kind of like that it's not just a meta. Like I didn't take it as much of a joke. Even I just like the pivot to where Ben and Cooper are slowly kind of morphing into the same guy, where like they're just like hot-headed and they're just mad at each other, just being dicks to each other because they're being dicks to each other, and she's just able to think more rationally than they are. I don't know. I think that like to me added a little bit of interest that I wasn't expecting anyway. Because like they kind of already cracked the egg on some of the stuff that they did in the original, and this is just like, to me, this is the shifting of a few particles to make the sandwich just a little bit different. You know what I mean? The end result is just a little bit different, and it's enjoyable to me. It's almost like watching an alternate reality version of that movie.
Yeah. Multiverse. Whoa.
Yeah.
No, but
that's very hot 2 years ago.
But also too, going back to, because I even had this thought, because this is not something that they touched on in the original, but when they're outside, especially with the truck scenes, and I was like, wait a second, look at this house. Look at the way this house specifically is built. I was like, my immediate thought before they even look up there or anything, I was like, get in the motherfucking attic. Like I had the thought immediately. And for these people who are, one, the guy, they change it to this is his uncle or cousin's house, whatever, a relation's house is there. And then also Ben is so bent about staying in this house and like using it for protection. It's kind of dumb to me that they have this out at the end where this dude gets in that, especially now, actually considering everybody that's involved, because everybody now, Barbara's not catatonic. Nobody's having to look after her. Everybody is kind of like on the level. There's the one guy who wants to actually be so safe and be in the basement. You're telling me that guy doesn't consider looking for an attic. You have the guy
He does
whose
at the very
cousin,
end, at least.
He does. Yeah. You have the guy whose cousin lives there. So he knows this house. He doesn't think about going to the attic. You have Ben, who is like hell bent on not walking out into this crowd and like spending the time and looking for nails and hammers and shit to hammer this up. I didn't like that aspect in the end. That felt like a bit of a cop out to me, honestly.
I think we're also like hella jaded with like, we're so fucking saturated with like zombie content. 30 years removed from this movie. So like it's easy to watch this and be like, well, why don't you do XYZ? Duh. But like in 1990, The Walking Dead wasn't running for 15 seasons with like 8 spinoffs or whatever it is. So like, I don't know, like it might be a little cheesy and like obvious to us, but like, I don't know, maybe in 1990 it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. And also, like, I don't know. To me, I didn't really see the attic as, like, being, like, the obvious solution necessarily either. And it was just because, like, I thinking the way that Ben was thinking, as we're invited to at the beginning, is like, okay, well, I mean, it's not substantially different than being getting yourself trapped in a basement. You know what I mean? Like, it's more or less the same thing. You're at a dead end, and you might not want to do that in a zombie apocalypse. It would be more secure probably, but like, and the other thing is like, none of that is able to come to light, not just because people aren't thinking about it, but because people are so dead set on arguing with each other and or panicking. And I think that's like not unrealistic in a world that doesn't already know the rules and how this works. These people are still shocked that the dead are coming back to life, because it's not an established media trope for them. So like between those things, I don't know, that didn't really bother me. I think it was more interesting just to see like that Barbara was able to, sorry, Tony Todd's infecting my brain here. No, but Barbara's like ability to calmly and rationally look around and like see what's happening and strategize through cold eyes like that, I think is like as close as you're going to get to the Daryl Dixons of the world or the Carols. Like that doesn't exist. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I was more forgiving of it overall. And like the things that were like so frustrating to me was like, it's so much of this movie is people being so dumb, and it does get really frustrating, and not from a like, oh, that's not what I would do perspective, but just from a like, well, I guess we're down a couple more because they decided to shoot a gas fucking dispenser.
To be fair, they do in the original too.
I see, and that's another thing is I didn't rewatch the original, and I don't have like all the specifics down.
Yeah, I didn't remember that they did, but actually Ben does it, and it's the problem. The stupid kid, he's got a torch. Ben has a torch, and the kid is just sloshing the gas around, and it catches the truck on fire, and they get in the flaming truck.
Hell yeah,
and then blow up. Which is kind of dumb within itself. But
there it is.
Yeah. So I mean, like panic and anger and all that shit, like can explain a lot of that stuff. It can be a little frustrating for us as the people who, and Justin's frequent words, like wanting to see if I would do the same thing, if they're behaving the way I would behave. You're not going to like find a lot of characters in this that do that. And, you know, I don't know what you can really do about that because we are in the time period that we are with the amount of zombie shit under our belt that we have. So
that's one of the things that makes zombie movies sort of infinitely interesting is you're always putting yourself in the position like, what would I do if I were these people? Like, how would I navigate surviving? And that's exactly what I did with this character. And I was like, well, I would probably want to do what Ben's doing, and he fucking gets his ass killed, so it doesn't work out. But I think Harry is the biggest motherfucker, the motherfuckerist of all in this fucking movie. I cannot stand that motherfucker. Yeah, awesome. That motherfucker's like, he refuses to do anything to help anybody, and like as the zombies are like breaking in through the windows and shit, and he's like, yep, told you it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work, and he's just standing back watching people potentially get eaten alive. It's just like, the motherfucker is so infuriating. At least Barbara shoots his ass in the end. It's like very cathartic. I liked that ending.
He is much worse this time around for sure. Even in the original one, you know, going back, I was saying, I remember when we had the original discussion, I was saying like in that one, Ben is played more up of like, yeah, he's very rational and you mostly side with him. But I remember being like, I don't know if I would necessarily, you know, I feel like that basement's pretty solid, especially if the attic's not a choice. But in this one, yeah, he's just a huge piece of shit. And really like doesn't necessarily seem like, at least the original guy seemed like to somewhat care about his wife and daughter. This dude just fucking, so it feels like it's a design to have that ending land a little bit more, to have that like, fuck yes, this piece of shit got his, you know, which is just, you know, it does so that it works in that way.
Right.
But some of it is another aspect of it being a little tedious because it, like, you know, it's hard not to compare these two, but in this, it's weird. This movie is a little bit shorter, I think, just in its general runtime, cutting out like the credits and stuff. Not by much. They're pretty close. But this one to me felt like it blew by. Yeah. Like it felt like just everything happened lightning fast, and a lot of it maybe is just the arguing going on between these people, and it's just jump to jump to jump to jump, which in some ways is kind of cool, honestly, because it's not like you have a lot of time to think. You got to do it, but them arguing so much did become a little like, made me a little like tired, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like that's kind of like one of my bigger complaints, honestly, is like, as much as I like, especially now, again, years later, it's easy to see why like the conflict between the human beings is such a like strong pivot point for all this shit. It's what makes it all, you know, relatable, really.
It's a little microcosm. They're stuck in the house. Exactly. You rule downstairs, I rule here. Yeah,
exactly. So you have like that going on, but it like, the thing is like the argument never really changes. It just stays the same argument the whole time, because this movie's this movie's Cooper is so much bigger, like you're saying. And like, honestly, a lot of the characters in this, like, I don't remember like every character is very, very well from Night of the Living Dead, but like, I don't think that as many characters were acting this large. It seemed more naturalistic, and this one's going for bigger, and it feels more comic booky, so it just feels repetitive instead of like, they're not making new points when they're arguing. They're just continuing the same like pissing contest. And to that end, it is like that does serve a purpose, because it like allows Barbara to come and take the reins and become like, oh, she's the one with the right idea, and that becomes your subversion of the original in a nice, clean way. But like, the experience of watching them do this is a slog, and it's a 90-minute movie. It really shouldn't feel like a slog at any point. It's pretty punchy in other ways. You say it goes lightning fast. I think that it does in parts, but like, there's a nice hefty middle section there that really could have used some rewrites or something, to where they gave us a little bit more to chew on than like, I don't know. I guess they tried to do that by like introducing the basement and the argument about the fucking TV. I don't even understand what Harry Cooper was trying to do with the TV. He's like, I can't get reception down there. Why would I take it down there? Bitch, we watched you. Like, we saw you. What are you talking about?
Yeah. He's
like,
just so
I don't
full
like
of shit at every turn.
Yeah.
Like, you can't.
It's just like the conflict is Cooper being a loud, screaming asshole all the time, and Ben responding in kind, and Barbara like setting that shit aside, and the other guy is just like kind of like hemming and hawing and trying to like figure out what to do. So like, I don't know. It just, the dynamic never really changes, and so that makes
it feels
like
kind of true to life in that way, though, which might not be the most entertaining.
Maybe
shit.
Just
but
a two-party system, you know.
Like,
I mean, it's a representation.
Yes,
the thing is, like,
exactly
that's true
what
to
it's
life. No, it's
need
political gridlock. That's what this movie's
really
about. Political gridlock. Those clowns in Congress. What a bunch of clowns.
They can't get nothing done.
Just walk right by them. The most obvious solution.
Bunch of yo-yos!
So
Yo-yos.
yeah, I don't know. Like,
Yo-yos.
it just seems he said yo-yos at least times.
Yeah.
So fucking many times. It's hilarious.
Also,
But
the
I don't know, like,
90s
the
are
thing is-
coming back, so we need to bring back Lame Brain. I thought that show was pretty
You lame brain. Why would you play tonsil hockey with her, you lame brain? Sorry, that's my 90s moment.
Nice.
So I don't know, like, to me, like, just having all that stuff together, it ultimately is still a fun film. It's tight in its own way, but like that middle section is the only part where it really loses me for a few minutes, where I'm like, okay, we don't need to have this argument with TV again. Cooper being a loudmouth asshole, it's not going to carry a good 45 minutes of this movie. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
He can be a loudmouth asshole in bursts, but change the dynamic. Give him the gun and have him turn on them, or like have some like stakes that go beyond like, oh, he's sneaking the TV like a fucking weasel. Like, why? For no discernible reason that even he admits is useless and pointless.
Yeah.
The fuck? Like,
Yeah.
He's an idiot.
Well, yeah.
There's one of the zombies. Juice, you and I were kind of talking about this before we started rolling the show. One of the zombies in this movie really reminded me of a zombie from another movie. And I don't know if this is what you were talking about, Juice. We were elusive in our earlier conversation. So the big guy with the overalls at the very beginning of the movie, when Barbara walks into the house and the little hand like falls
I know what
over
you're
the
thinking
ledge.
about, though. Yeah.
And then the fucking zombie falls over the ledge. I love that scene. It's super fucking creepy. But the big dude in the overalls, I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like it has to be homaged in Shaun of the Dead. The guy that they're
I
throwing the
think so.
vinyl at in the garden. He looks exactly
With the overall,
like him.
he does look the same. Yeah.
well, he's not overalled in that movie. They're just like bigger guys
he
with
not?
bald heads.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought they were both wearing overalls, but maybe
I
I'm
thought
wrong.
so.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's wearing just like a windbreaker and jacket. I don't know.
We might find out soon enough. Yeah.
To
Who
be
knows?
continued.
It's
Something
not like I've
that's
ever
windbreaker.
seen that movie before.
As soon as you brought up the guy in the overalls, my mind immediately went to Shaun of the Dead, though.
Yeah.
But when we were talking before, that's not the one I was referencing. There was one point. So the zombies in the well, okay. So the zombie I wanted to mention was when Ben goes outside with his torch and he's swinging it around.
Yeah.
There's at one point this group of like a kind of a half moon shape around it, like when he's headed toward the truck. And there's one guy who's like kind of smack in the middle a little bit. And he's like an older guy. And he does this hilarious face. He does this like woo, like with the when because Ben is like waving the flame around. It just like caught my eye and like kind of cracked
We
me
don't
up.
like fire.
Yeah, woo.
I had to look up the big zombie from Shaun of the Dead. He's not wearing overalls, but he's wearing a really
Really?
big overcoat. So that's kind of,
Okay.
I don't know if you can see my phone. You can't really see that, can you?
I can't now.
He's wearing a big
Yeah,
overcoat.
he's wearing, like-
yeah.
Okay.
wearing a coat. So,
But yeah, I did. Yeah, when you started to mention that. But the thing about this one, though, too, in color, I do think talking about the zombies, Tom Savini, he does do a good job. There is something about the black and white that hides a lot of the flaws that you don't get in this one.
That's true. I mean, like, this is post Dawn of the Dead, too, like where we saw
where we had blue
the
zombies.
literal translation of the black and white to color. So they like it gave them a chance to rework that, and I think they did a great job in that respect. I think for the time and for the zombie canon, these effects are great.
I thought they were solid,
work really
honestly. Yeah.
and they still hold up pretty good. I just don't think there's enough of it for me to want to call it as much of a showcase as I thought it would be
Yeah.
with Tom Savini at the helm. I thought there'd be more to it than what's there. Like there's some other like creature effects films that I feel like really do it, but like think of like a Little Shop of Horrors or whatever. Like that's a showcase of your special effects talent. Like
Savini.
I think this does that, but it's not quite as heightened as I wanted. Sorry, Bob.
No, I agree with you. Savini did all the practical effects for Day of the Dead. And I believe he still refers to that as like his favorite movie that he's ever done. It's my favorite of the original Romero trilogy. But I gotta think that like him being like the director of this took away from his time to work on the effects. So like maybe you're not getting the full
Probably.
Savini that you might expect in other movies, which is kind of a bummer because the dude's hella talented. So like, you know,
Probably that could very well be. It's strange. Like I don't know. You're right. I think Dawn of the Dead's like, or I'm sorry, not Dawn of the Dead. Day of the Dead's effects, like the individual moments stand out more.
yeah.
Like there's more like tentpole moments of just viscera and gore and heinous shit happening, and it's more affecting in that way. This one kind of like he kind of brings back some of the goofiness of the Dawn of the Dead zombies a little bit. Like there's that scene where two of them are like, one of them grabs a frog or a mouse or something and puts it in his mouth, and the other one gets mad and is trying to grab the mouse out of
little
it. Like,
mouse. Yeah,
that's a little like goofy little vignette of zombies in this movie. Like that's otherwise playing them pretty straight. I mean, as straight as a slow moving zombie is. But I don't know. I just feel like those sort of things are like vestiges of a version. It's like if you took the Evil Dead remake and then added in like a couple of like scenes of like just absolutely goofy Deadite shit, just like one or two. It's like, what? It's totally like, it makes sense to homage the original or like to bring back some of that in some ways, but it's not meshing the same way to me. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I will say the very beginning of the movie when they're in the cemetery and that one guy comes up, you think he's a zombie, they do kind of a fake out and he runs away.
The ass.
And then the guy that the first zombie you see like sort of pops up from behind Barbara and then eats Johnny. Yeah. And that like fake out really surprised me. I did not remember that happening. Like I was like, holy shit, there's a fucking zombie. And then, you get the zombie ass right after that, which is hilarious, I thought.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And it's like, that, but that's before the tone is really like started to settle.
Yeah.
So like, it kind of like, it does kind of introduce like, oh, this is a little silly too, if you look at it like as a distant observer.
Well,
but
even that beginning, so from the very beginning, I thought like, oh, this is pretty good casting. And I do think the casting in general was like good for this, going off of this original classic that so many people know. But it was just another thing to kind of like going back to our previous point, but even the to start things off, Johnny does tease Barbara in the beginning, but in this one, it's just like it goes a little bit.
Barbara.
Just goes a little bit harder. It's like a little bit more mean. It just goes on a little too long.
He says
and I'm
they're
like,
horny.
Man.
They're horny.
Well, yeah, he does. Yeah.
What the fuck kind of brother? Like, that's weird, dude.
Well,
he's also like he's kind of a shitbag in the conversations leading up to that too. Where
that's the thing.
Where he seems that way. He's like, they're talking about going to visit their mother's grave. And clearly they had a bad relationship, which is weird to set that narrative pipe down for no reason, but there it is. And she's like, shut up. I don't want you saying that stuff at the funeral. And that's what prompts him to like tease her or whatever. But I don't know, like, I was pretty grateful that he was dead when he was. Like they could have made him.
Yeah,
they could have like not killed him right away and made that part of the swapping of details. But
he says something like, "Mom got buried 200 miles away from the closest beer" or something like that. Like, God damn. Dude.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you can just have beer.
Yeah,
with
you can bring a beer.
Cemetery
beer.
You can get me a cemetery beer.
But also one thing that's kind of disappointing about this one, which I guess it changes the whole like aspect of Barbara's final fate in the original film. But he doesn't come back, which the whole aspect of you're learning about zombies coming back to life. At first, you don't really know what's going on, but then that people can die and come back to life. And then Johnny finally shows up. He doesn't do that in this one. And I thought that was kind of a bummer too.
Well, he does show up as a corpse at the end in one of the piles.
Oh, in one of
we
the
do
piles.
see that.
Okay.
Yeah, she sees him there.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, like, by not doing that, by not showing him come back, it does kind of, I think, help the punch of her finally kind of like taking command and coming out of her comatose state to shoot one of the zombies in the chest and been like, is he dead?
Yeah.
Does he look dead to you? Like, I like that a lot. And like her proving it, I guess they could have probably done both, I guess, but I don't know. Like, I like a little bit faster pace. And I also just like, I don't know. I don't think I needed it. I guess. I think
it could have been cool if he came back and she had to then put him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Showing kind of like what a stronger character she is, I guess.
I mean, she does put down a living Harry Cooper, so I don't know, like, he's not her brother or whatever, but that's a choice. She's like, no, you don't get to survive.
Go ahead,
so satisfying. It's just, that ending is so satisfying.
So it's satisfying, but also another thing, it's weird to come to that ending right after she does her whole pondering of
we're
the animal, or we're just like them. Yeah. It's like, well, you're no different, apparently.
Yeah.
This time we're the monsters.
Yeah, and me too.
The ending of this is one of like the pivots that it takes from the original. And I really like it. It also, again, reminded me a lot of Shaun of the Dead, the end of Shaun of the Dead, which I assume takes from this in some way, where they're just like flipping through the TV stations and they're like, they got these weird like zombie games. They're like reaching for raw meat and they're on a slip and slide or some shit. Yeah. These, dude, when I saw the ending of this, I was like, 100% that would be happening everywhere.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
It's
fair. Yeah,
that shit would be on TikTok.
It's so believable in the worst way. Like it would just it would just validate these people that are like hoarding ammo and guns in America and like, oh, I've been waiting for this day. You get your boys together and fill the bed of the truck up with corpses and start a bonfire. Like, goddamn, like pounding Coors Light the whole time. Like, it's just
also hanging them by their necks while they're still moving.
Yeah,
it's grotesque,
fucked up. Yeah.
But also talking about collecting them like in the truck, and then when you open it up to put another one, that's when they fucking break out. Like your stupidity is what like just causes this ridiculous.
It's Ben that sees that and relays that information, but he's like. He acts stupid too in this movie. So it's, I don't know. It's a little incongruous, some of the stuff. And like the thing you brought up about her being like, we're the monsters. Oh, we're just like them. Oh, we're the same. Us and those dead zombies or whatever. I don't know what that gets me, man. I don't know what that's not really doing it for me. I don't know what she's even getting at. It's just
people are monsters.
I guess, but it's so like, it's either like the most surface level interpretation or it doesn't make sense. So I'm like,
not hella.
These are also things trying to murder you. I don't necessarily begrudge you.
Well, I guess, I mean, we sit here and say like, yeah, probably people would be doing that shit. And so it's fair to say like, you're just waiting you're just waiting for that kind of excuse where like, oh, I can shoot these human beings, but they're not human beings. But I
just don't think that they made that point well. Like, I think they could have. I just think there's another way to write that to where it like
there's a difference between
lands better,
like survival in treating these people these zombies that were actual like human beings that were probably your neighbors as like entertainment, like drunken debauchery.
No,
like, they're gambling right next to a pin where they're like prodding a zombie that used to be a person. It's like, it's really fucked
I don't know. All of that I agree with, and like I just think that her reaction being like, we're just like them. I don't think that's really summing up what they're showing us exactly is the issue. I think it's more like, do we even deserve to survive as a species? Something like that maybe is more on that money for me. It just feels like a platitude on top of what could be a really strong point.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, the food truck, I was like, okay, no. The food truck, no.
Truck?
Yeah. And
like
that
roasting
whole
a pig
camp,
or something?
they've got like a food truck out there. I'm like, okay, I know people would be out here, wrestling zombies.
Still doing breakfast burritos.
Probably banging zombies.
It's after 10. We're only serving lunch now.
How long until someone bangs a zombie, boys, when the apocalypse happens? Like 2 minutes?
Oh, God.
Has that been in a movie? That has to be in a movie somewhere.
I'm sure it's in a movie.
Oh, my goodness.
We live in hell, so of course it does.
24 hours with the living dead, eh, boys?
Honey, Barbara.
What a weird thing to say to your sister. God damn.
That's pretty normal.
Boys,
I say that to your sister all the time.
Bob? I'm texting your sister right now.
The horny Bob sister. We don't need to say my family's name on the show.
One day we'll learn their names, but
Bob sister number 2. Boys, are there any other points you want to hit on before we rate this movie?
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah. All right, let's roll into it. Out of 5, Ray and Deezy, why don't you kick us off? How you feel?
Wow, coming to me first.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. Like, I do like this movie. I think it's kind of just a popcorn movie for me. Like, it's the popcorn movie version of the original. The original actually, to me, lands some affecting moments that this doesn't really hit. This movie tries for a couple of things. It subverts in a few ways. It makes some interesting choices, but it doesn't pack the same punch. And it's not just the fact that it's not the original. It really is like that original movie. Like, it just feels it feels almost more documentary than this does, and so it's more affecting. And not even to compare it to the original, though. Like just watching this though, like I can have a good time. I can like slam some popcorn, have a nice beer, watch this movie, and enjoy myself. But it's not one that I'm gonna like be like looking at as a seminal classic in any way. Even if this was the original Night of the Living Dead, I'd be like, if there was no others before this, I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty good. That's a cool idea. But like they don't really capitalize in the way that I would kind of expect for being as removed from the original as it is. I think the acting is mostly good. I think it's over the top, and like there's some virtue to that too. Like again, like because it's a popcorn movie, I can see some of these like silly things and just take them for what they are and not really think too much of them. And it's when they start trying to make the points that it feels a little heavy-handed or a little strange, or when they make a few choices. Like I don't know. Some of that stuff lands, some of it doesn't. It's a little bit medium for me, is I guess where I'm circling here. I don't dislike it by any means, but it's not going to be top of my list to watch again anytime soon. So for me, I think I'm going to land at like a 3. It's better than average, but it's not going to like compete with the big boys for me.
All right, a 3 from Randeezy. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty similar. One thing I did want to praise, I don't want to be like too harsh on this because I did think it was good on its own. And the thing that I do respect about this is you're remaking a classic, and so sometimes I think the original ending is better, but at the same time I respect the thing like if you're gonna do it, doing something different and making it, pretty good. It's really difficult to live up to just how good the original was, but I respect trying and producing something that's still of quality. So, shouts outs for that. Also, Tony Todd's performance, it is generally the performances are more over the top, but I really enjoyed watching him. Sometimes it did feel a little tedious because of exactly what was happening in the dialogue that was going on, but his performance was really good. Barbara is a huge improvement in general to the original, so I did appreciate that. The negatives are going to come into the fact where I don't know. To me, the things went by super quick and didn't feel like they had a whole lot of weight to them. It really just did feel like a whole bunch of bickering and hammering, which are just a lot of noise that kind of just gets tedious and kind of overwhelmed me, or just like I don't know, like when I say tired of it, it really was. I was just like, man, we need to move on to something else. Mm-hmm. I did like having the big zombie in there though, as a difference. Especially having kind of a showdown in that closed space. They do kind of do that in the first one too, but this one just felt like it had a little bit more weight, and the little touches too of like Ben covering up the relative's corpse and stuff like that. Like there's just good little touches like that. But yeah, I mean, it is, it's unnecessary, but ultimately I think they did a pretty good job of, what they, especially knowing about Romero not having the trademark or whatever. That's understandable. It's more understandable to me than like, let's just do Evil Dead 2 again because we got more money. It's like, you want to have something that's like really yours that you can hold on to in some kind of way. So, good on you for picking somebody who you respect to make the movie and making some key changes that make it different. So I'll give it a little bit higher than Randy, but not too much. I'll say like a 3.25.
We didn't even really talk about this. I just want to bring this up real quick. The little girl scene, like, I think that's kind of like a good canary in the coal mine for why these movies feel so different. In this one, it feels like watching Jason Voorhees come out of the dark and kill somebody. Whereas in the original, it felt like, oh my God, my daughter is not my daughter anymore. Like there's no emotional heft to it, but there's just a little bit of fun to it. That's the key difference here. Is like this movie is fun enough, but it's not emotional or gripping the way the original is.
Yeah.
So I just want to call that out.
Yeah.
Bob, out of 5, where are you going to land on this one?
I think I'm a little more positive on it than you guys. I think the original is a stone cold classic that literally changed like the landscape of horror forever. It redefined what a zombie is, and like the modern zombie directly comes from that movie and Romero. So like remaking that movie takes a lot of balls, but of course like it was basically orchestrated by Romero for a specific reason. So I don't know. I appreciate like why this movie was made, and I think it's really cool that Savini was like handpicked by Romero, and like it was his first and only movie that he's ever directed. And I think considering he's the first time director, this movie comes together really quite well, I would say. It's unfortunate that you don't get maybe the level of practical effects and gore that you would come to expect from Savini's work, but you know, he was wearing many hats, I'm sure, so you kind of got to take what you can with this. I think also a good reason for this movie to exist is like not everybody is going to be down to watch a super low budget black and white movie from 1968. So like it being updated in color with some decent effects and some actors that maybe some folks would recognize is like an easier selling point, you know, and it does, for me, it did kind of cruise by like it did for you, Juice. The movie it feels super quick. So it's an easier sell if maybe you're trying to show somebody like an older zombie movie, try and get them kind of into Romero by way of this Tom Savini remake. I think that sort of serves a decent purpose. Tony Todd in this movie is great. I think it was the cast overall, honestly, is pretty solid. I do like the change in the ending, even if it wasn't like totally like framed in a way that makes it the most impactful. But I like where they're going with it, and I do like the awful like irony of the fucking key being in the basement the whole time. It's just like such a swift kick to the dick that I think that moment lands really hard, and Tony Todd just has like a nice hearty laugh to himself in the basement. It's like, it's pretty brutal. Harry finally getting shot, solid moment in the movie. It has a lot of good moments for sure. Of course, it's not reinventing anything. It's not creating anything. It's not the stone cold classic that the original is, but I think this movie does have its own merits, and I think it's overall very entertaining and enjoyable to watch. So yeah, I'm going to come in with a 3.5 out of 5 on this one, and that's going to make our aggregate a 3.25. And as per usual, we do, whenever you guys pick a movie for us to review, we ask that you send in an email or a voicemail with your own thoughts and ratings for the movie. And Matt shot us over an email. Juice, do you have that?
I do. Ready, boys? He says,
Ready. Great
Jupiter's balls, ladies. This is one of my favorite movies. Uh-oh, Matt. Hope we didn't go too hard on it. With you recently covering The Mist and a cut above's October to Romero, I had been thinking about this movie a lot over the holidays, and I'm excited to hear your conversation about it. This movie is full on overacting, which I enjoy and find charming and somehow wholesome. The score is definitely of its time. I wouldn't call it bad, but it's not great, though it does pull on some nostalgia strings for me. I love to hate Harry Cooper's butthole face.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You bunch of yo-yos!
This movie has an increased pace and tension compared to the original. Agree. It seems like they are in more danger in the remake. They are boarding up the house over half the movie. Yes. I like the house. It's a great location and reminds me of where I grew up. The outhouse has a working light, but the door is off its hinges. Have fun pooping. All those rednecks at the end of the movie could be my uncles. I know what you mean, Matt.
Oh, dude, can't relate.
Oh my Lord. I hope they calm down and make good choices. And lastly, I'm so glad Barbara, I think her name's Barbara, got her redemption in this movie. The OG Barbara was never given a chance. 4.4 stars. Keep it creepy, you yo-yos. Bridge Troll Matt. Hashtag throbbing for soju. Hashtag Randy for Randy. And hashtag Bod is okay. Bob is okay.
Bod.
But it says Bod.
I want your bod.
Bod is okay.
My boy Bod.
This is my boy bod.
He's okay.
Had to check that one. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
My ding dong.
Oh God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah, I
picking
hope
this.
we
flick.
didn't.
Yeah. I hope we didn't poop too hard on you there, Matt.
I think he can take it in stride, but we weren't that hard
can.
on it. I don't think.
No, like,
that's why,
none of us
especially in
dislike
my
this movie.
synop
That's-
or like, well, in my overall review, I try to really highlight the positives a little bit more. But yeah,
Yeah, it's tough when you're making like a classic. It's just tough, you know.
it is. That's the thing about it is like, yeah, this has the coming into this movie. It's just got so much behind it, and it's like, oh, this is different, and this is, you know,
It is a good
what it
remake.
is.
There's so many shit remakes.
It is.
Like
If anyone ever asked me like some of the best remakes, I'd be like, yeah, Night of the Living Dead.
solid. Yeah,
It's good. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
the Dawn of the Dead remake, solid. Day of the Dead. I haven't personally seen it, but man,
I haven't either.
I've heard bad things.
Oh no, that's the one, huh?
I think so.
That one came out very recently, didn't it?
It did
Yeah.
like 2 years ago.
2019 or 2020
something
or
like
something.
that. Yeah, I heard it's a pile of doo doo.
Oh no!
Oh,
Can't all be
no.
winners, you know. Can't all
It
be
can't.
winners.
Yeah, that Zack Snyder one's solid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it
Yeah.
is solid movie.
that's got franchise got some good remakes.
Yeah.
See, and
generally.
that's I don't know. That one has one up on this one, I think, because
It
its
does, yeah.
gore effects are like it's a little bit like I don't know. It's a little bit in the CGI realm or whatever, but like they're more iconic, like zombie interactions. Like the whole interactions are more like I don't know. They stick with me better. Like the fucking the buses with the fucking chainsaw and the guy like slips. I don't know. It's good.
Yeah. I feel you. I like
Yeah.
that movie too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's solid. Yeah, thanks for the pick, Matt. It's solid
Yeah,
pick.
thank you.
I love getting in the like Romero world. It's always a fun conversation. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
It does, like Randy was saying, it does have that, even if it does have that touch of just kind of classic horror, or
Yeah.
just,
yeah.
you know,
comfort
old school fun horror. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Mhm.
God damn.
None of that artsy fartsy bullshit.
God, I love
Idiot.
fucking Romero. Yes.
And none of that
Yes.
campy bullshit.
Yeah, I love that shit.
No, none of that camp in this movie. None. No camp in this.
Zero camp allowed. Straight chilling. All right, boys. Let's jump over in our Rotten Tomatoes segment, see what the critics and users think about Night of the Living Dead.
Certified fresh. Dead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these fellas guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is for Rotten Tomatoes in both the user and critics category and the film Night of the Living Dead. Boy, one day I should write that down. All right, we're going to start with Juice today on our critic reviews. There are only 34 here, hazards of being a little bit on the older side.
Okay.
Only 34 reviews in our critics. What do you think that the aggregate positive score is for those 34 critics?
Man, I really don't know. I really
This is
don't
a
know.
weird one, yeah.
It is a weird one. So I'm gonna kind of like stick. I think it could reasonably be close to where we ended up. And so just for the sake of staying within that realm, I'll say the 69 boys.
69 boys.
Dudes, I'm sorry, dude. Boys are for Bob, dude. 69.
Wow. 69 twinks. All right. Bob, your turn. You going to go the over, the under? You going to go all the way under? What are you doing?
Oh, shit. I think I'm going to go the over on this one. I'll take 75.
75. All right. So a nice solid C there. Well, one of you fellas is only 1 point away from glory. You're just a smidge from the glory hole there. And that person is going to be Soju. It's a 68%. 68% from those 34 critics.
1968.
Hell yeet.
Mm.
There you go. So I'm going to go ahead and read the critics' consensus before we move on to the audience. Here it is. Night of the Living Dead doesn't quite reinvent the original's narrative, but its sleek action and amplified gore turn it into a worthy horror showcase.
We were what? So what were we? 3.4? Was that our average?
3.25 was ours.
Oh, at a quarter. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know that I agree with those specific points. The narrative is more tooled with. It's not. It's tooled with a little bit, but sleek action. The gore is amplified. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a little bit more on the money than I thought.
We're pretty close. Yeah, we're pretty close.
All right. Well, let's move on to our audience score. There are 50,000 ratings for this film. We'll start in reverse order with Bob. Bob, there. Out of those 50,000 ratings, what do you think the aggregate positive score will be?
Oh man, I could see some horror fans thinking this is like blasphemy, remaking the original. I could see like people watching this with modern eyes being bored too. So I don't know. I'll just take a 60, I think.
60 flat.
Yeah.
Okay. Juice, where are you going with it? Over, under, sideways? Where are we going?
Well, as Bob was saying that, I was agreeing, but I also at the same time with some horror heads watching this, like, oh shit, fucking Candyman's in this, and like, oh shit, kind of like I was like, oh fuck, I know Tom Savini directed this, so it could possibly swing the other way. I honestly think it's probably going to be pretty close. I think this is one of those movies where we're like, yeah, it's positive, kind of like it's good enough, but it's not amazing, so. I think 70, is reasonable.
70. All right. Just 1 point away from your 69 twinks.
Yeah.
And that is going to service you quite well because the answer is, again, 68%. We got a little ringy-dingy amongst the two scores between themselves.
Holy
there.
shit.
That's okay. So it's right on. Yeah, I think everybody's it's kind of like it's
on
like
the same level here.
Yeah, it's like it's good, but the original's better, but it's good enough. But it's
Nobody, it's not nobody, but like it seems like generally everybody's on.
That's pretty.
It seems
good.
like people are on our page.
Yeah.
Where it's like that's enjoyable, not much more than that, but it's enjoyable for a number of reasons. So
it seems like everyone thinks that's a hell yeah, it's sweet.
Oh my god.
Boring.
Anyway,
everybody is. Seems like.
Gotta sneak it in there for you, Bob. Can't see it.
Oh man.
There's no sneaking. What are you talking about?
I've been blindsided.
What?
Juice is about to make a really good point. He's about to say something really interesting. What's he saying?
Have you heard of our podcast?
Have you heard of our podcast? Have you heard?
And let's go, as we always do, and read some negative reviews here. There weren't a ton because they're just not a big sample size here, so I'll just read a couple of them here. Useless remake with good effects. Okay.
Cool.
Nailed it, bro.
How about a film? This one's from Roger Ebert, and it is kind of funny. A film that confuses screaming with emotion. I don't think that's necessarily wrong.
That's
kind of on point.
Yeah. Gotta give him that one.
I mean, it's kind of tough to argue.
Bunch of yo-yos!
So yeah. One more. Despite the upgrade in visuals, some of the dialogue is still unconvincing, and although the actors are acceptable, the conversations range from annoying to aggravating. That's not a range. Those are synonyms, sir.
It's a close range. It's not very well.
Yeah. It's very, very tight range. So yeah, that's our Rotten Tomatoes segment. Bob, I'm going to hand it over to you and give you a chance to read a little bit of trivia to us. What do you think of that?
Let's get into some trivia.
It's totally time for trivia.
All right, boys. Yeah, I got a few points. There wasn't a ton on this. But what I did find, apparently Savini originally wanted to start this movie off in black and white and then slowly fade it into color, which could have been cool.
That's kind of cool idea.
Yeah, they can like kind of do that very briefly in the beginning, but not. I don't think to like the degree that he really wanted to.
Did they?
I feel like if they were like walking up to the grave and it turned color,
Yeah.
then that's about as far as I'd want it to go.
I think it was like the intro credits, and it wasn't like totally black and white. It was like
Okay, I don't remember.
I don't know. It kind of felt a little bit like that, but not entirely. Bill
DC didn't
Cardile.
crank up the saturation like your boy Rob Zombie.
That is true.
Fuck this black and white.
Prepare your brain for razzle dazzle.
Razzle dazzle. Bill Cardile appears as a reporter in both the 1968 version and the remake, which I guess he's
Wait,
the
what?
guy. Bill Cardile is an actor by the name of Bill Cardile. I guess he's the guy like at the end that's interviewing the sheriff, I think. So he's in both of these movies. Russell Strainer, who appeared in the original Night of the Living Dead as Johnny, also appears in this movie. He is the sheriff McClelland at the end of the movie.
Okay.
So that's pretty
I
cool.
thought the Johnny casting was pretty spot on.
It was solid, yeah.
That guy, he was like, he had the right amount of smug, I think.
Yeah, just like the kind of look. I don't know. Just when he popped up, I was like, "Damn, that's his." Yeah.
Well, it's so like their outfits are like almost 1-to-1 feeling with the original in that scene.
Breast is a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Is
he
it?
is
Okay.
definitely with the.
I know
gloves and
she eventually wears pants. My goodness, pants.
Oh,
Oh,
those are for boys.
That's so progressive.
According to the director's commentary, someone sent a copy of the footage of the Mercedes-Benz rolling down the hill into the tree to Mercedes-Benz, showing that the airbag did not deploy.
There you go.
They were apparently awarded with a brand new car, and that Mercedes, I guess, was owned by Tom Savini, so he got himself a new whip out of the deal.
There you go, dude.
Damn, dude.
If you could somehow disable those airbags
How
beforehand, they just didn't come out.
Give me a new one, I guess.
you know.
We should shoot a movie just to get some new Benzes, boys.
Yeah, we'll spend millions of dollars to get a new 1987 Chrysler.
I know a
Mercedes.
boy who will shoot it on the cheap.
You have a cell phone. Just you don't have to hire anybody.
My boy Frankie, he'll shoot it on the cheap.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Frankie, you want some new Benz?
You want some new bins? Several. How many cars do you want? I'll get them. All right,
My boy Tom Savini taught me how to get a free Benz.
Watch this.
Oh, he's from Pittsburgh. He doesn't fuck around. The last bit of trivia that I have here is the scene at the end of the film where several zombies are lynched from a tree was apparently in the original script from 1968, but it was cut because of the ongoing racial tensions. I guess it felt a little too risky, but obviously they put it back in the remake. So
It would have made more sense in that one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like that's the thing is like this is the thing that made the ending of the original so impactful is that it's like at the end of the day like it's humanity even in this crisis mode falling into the same old pattern
Yeah.
of racial division and all that shit and like murderous lynch mobs basically indiscriminately killing people and all this stuff. Whereas in this one, like, they gave Barbara the reins to be the hero here and sort of be like, oh man, like, and she's like an antidote to the arguing and the yelling and the bravado. But like when it gets to that last scene, that's another reason it doesn't like quite land the same because it's like, okay, yeah, the people are being idiots about this or whatever, but there's not like the precedent there is like based on the idea that maybe women are more intuitively smart or something or like whatever. Whereas it's not based on an actual precedent. It's based on like observable truth that black people were treated a different way and were like killed for no fucking reason. This is just like bucking a gender norm slightly, if that makes sense. It's just less of a
Yeah.
it just seems like less of an extreme statement for its certainly for its time.
Yeah,
and
I
place.
mean, I definitely agree with that. I would imagine that like there's not, I don't know, 1990. I was a child, but I would imagine in 1990 there weren't like a ton of like action movies coming out with like a strong female lead who like actually survives and turns out was right the whole time. But like it's not to the same
That's
There's
true.
a
Like,
little movie I like to call Alien, Bob, that you're overlooking.
Oh yeah, it's just
Really more of a
not
Mac and Me
that
guy.
Good though, Mac and Me.
This 4-star film you like to call.
I gave it a 4.5. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not to the same extent that the
Sure.
original 1968 movie is commenting on by any means. So yeah, but yeah, you don't want them to make the exact same movie over.
Star Wars was out.
That's
I mean, I give Tom immense credit for not doing the Gus Van Sant shot for shot remake because that's a sin.
That's
to
the
make
thing
people
you
pay for
gotta
that
respect. I mean, yeah, and also having Romero write it. I mean, that's a huge thing. I mean, it's the guy.
Yeah.
If anybody's gonna do it,
Sure.
that's fine. Yeah.
That is fine. We'll allow you to do that, George Romero. That's okay.
I won't give you too much shit.
Approved. Don't fuck
I
it
know
up.
you're listening from the grave.
From beyond.
That's what all those flickering lights they've been getting.
Dude, we've been having... There's a ghost in the
I hear
machine
him.
tonight. There
Oh, man.
is.
I can hear George calling.
You lame brains!
Oh, spooky.
Yo-yos. Yeah, that's all the trivia I got. Let's go ahead and jump over into our... Oh, you had something else?
Just one little thing. Like I was looking through the filmography of Barbara's actress Patricia Tallman, and I guess she was like hot shit with some Star Treks and some Babylon 5s and stuff like that. But I was interested to see that she was in Army of Darkness. She apparently was a stunt woman for many years. So she was in Army of Darkness as a witch. And she was also like Laura Dern's stand-in in Jurassic Park, apparently, for most of that film. Her double.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a pretty nice filmography here for her. I just wanted to call that out. I thought that was interesting.
Badass. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, Randy.
Anyway,
Way to
yeah.
go.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into our Cooter of the Week.
Straight chillin'! Cooter of the
Juice, what is a Cooter and why do we hunt them?
Ho! Cooter is a character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter. We want the Cooter with the most points. 5 points of Cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation.
Horny Barbara.
Manipulation.
Has a lot of uses.
It does,
pretty
yes. Oh no. Smug arrogance, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. Boys, I think we got some Cooters to work through here.
Let's burn through some Cooters here, all right?
Let's start with your boy Cooper.
Start with old Harry Cooper.
Yes.
The old Harry Coop.
Old Harry Hole.
Yes. Smug arrogance.
Yeah. Mhm. It's that smug arrogance and patheticness. Those two prongs are holding this tent right on.
So
up.
incapable of doing anything himself.
Yeah.
Other than
It's so unwilling to.
Like,
Yeah.
God
like-
damn.
Yeah.
You almost broke my arm, Ben. Well, motherfucker, you could have helped
Fuck
us.
up.
So fuck you.
Yeah, patheticness for sure. Manipulation. Well, at the very end, he the zombies in this one don't seem quite as capable as the ones in the original ones. So him lifting up the string on the attic, that seems like they keep people out.
Yeah, I guess that's
Kind of manipulative.
I suppose, yeah. I definitely think he was trying to keep people out of there. I think he had given up on anything else at that point. He had given up on his wife and daughter. He'd given up on everything.
That's true, yeah.
And he just went on up there and he's like, fuck this. So I don't know. Like, I think cowardice, if it's not a prong, it certainly lends itself to the patheticness.
Definitely coward, yeah. He slaps the shit out of his wife.
That's true.
Yeah, dude.
Not awesome.
No.
I don't know if he really hits manipulation, though. I don't know if we can...
Manipulation. I mean, yeah. I guess he's not really trying to convince as much to go down into. But then he's like, then he's not opening the doorway. He's like, I need the wood or whatever.
Right? Yeah. Well, how slow he is to give. Who is it? Whatever that character's name was. The hammer and nails when he's getting attacked through the window.
Yeah, again,
I don't
kind
know.
of cowardice.
It's like
but also, yeah.
It's like he also does that. You're gonna die up here. You're gonna die, and then he gives a little smirk. It's like he likes this a little bit. he thinks he's safe. He's so headstrong that he thinks he's perfectly safe and whatever else, and he can't be convinced otherwise by the loudest guy or the quietest person. Nobody's gonna convince him of anything. So that's like that sort of arrogance is gonna push him well into that category, but. I don't know. I don't know if you can really call it manipulation beyond that.
Yeah, maybe
so much as
a touch.
it's maybe self-manipulation.
Yeah.
He's playing with himself, you know?
Yeah. So
Patheticness.
definitely patheticness, definitely smug arrogance.
Yeah.
There's no sexual deviancy. Manipulation seems like maybe a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
attire.
overall looking attire, I don't really
Nobody in
remember what
this
he's
is
wearing.
very-
Yeah.
He's wearing like they were clearly out at some black tie event.
Some
because him and his
to-do.
wife
Yeah,
are
that's right.
dressed really nicely, but like with, the bow tie down and stuff.
Is
don't know.
there, what about old Johnny? Johnny, sexual deviance?
Oh,
I think we get enough.
we're
of them.
extrapolating a lot out of
Yeah.
Johnny to get him. I mean, he says one line that's a little weird towards his sister. It's a and he's teasing her at the time.
He touches a zombie's butt, potentially.
Potentially. You can't prove he didn't.
Potentially. Checked its oil too, probably.
Yes, that's what a boy liked.
The zombie oil. It's a
Yeah.
rare
I don't know,
brew.
man. Like, there's not a lot. I think, like, he's a little bit smug and I don't know. He's more just like annoying. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like, if that really rises to the occasion.
I don't know if he's
Yeah.
like an official Cooter, but like he also just is one. Right? Like, fuck this guy.
I feel like if we
Yeah,
spent a longer time with him, like you're definitely happy when he dies.
True.
You're like,
yeah.
thank God I don't have to listen to that.
Which is like a ghost point for Cooter.
That is, it absolutely is. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you could say that about Harry as well.
True
so,
about
I mean,
Harry. Yeah, like thank God.
Like, you
that
more
dude's
like
dead.
definitively, you're happy to see him die. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
movie
yeah.
rewards you for your patience. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess nobody's
Who else is, like,
super strong. Surprisingly,
the good old
I thought there
boys
would be. Yeah, they're kind of like,
As a unit, maybe.
but a smug arrogance. I guess that would be.
yeah,
They're not
arrogance,
really.
looking at tiring.
I don't know.
Sexual deviancy, no. Manipulation, not really. They're not trying to play. Well, no, I don't know. Not really. I was going to say like they're keeping these things in pens to play with, but that's not manipulation. They're not humans
it's
anymore.
just like shitty.
It's pathetic though.
Yeah.
It's a little shit.
Kind of smug. I'm a better thing than you.
Smug and
I'm gonna
pathetic.
Yeah, it's
treat
just like
shit.
smug and pathetic is like kind of the
Yeah,
name of the
everybody,
game of this
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Like,
All right. Well, unfortunately, we can't buck them, boys.
Somehow Cooter free, which is shocking.
man,
That is
gone off on a
shocking. I thought we'd
technicality.
I'm
Yeah, a
shook.
couple.
I can't.
I'd be
believe
fine booking Harry on principle, but
it.
you know,
I'm also
whatever.
fine with that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But you know,
All right.
you know,
We're not men of
can't-
principle here.
No, we do what we want. We let the power go to our heads.
Of course.
manipulation, smug arrogance.
Lame brains!
Oh no!
Throw the book at them, boys, just because we
Yep.
can.
Just because we can. All right. Well, make of that what you will, boys. Let's go ahead and
A
go
look
ahead.
into our souls.
right. We are corrupt. Let's go ahead and talk about what we've been watching this week.
Hey, gang, what you been watching?
Randeezy, what you been watching?
Yeah, I think that if I remember right, the last time we recorded, I was one ep away from ending Fargo season 5, and we did that. And no show or film has ever made me want a biscuit more than that last episode of Fargo
Hell
season
yeah.
5. That shit ruled. Very unexpected ending, but it like narratively makes a lot of good shit. It's good shit. So we started chugging back through season 1 a little bit. I think we're only 2 episodes into that. And it is very fun. It's very good to watch. It's an easy, it goes down easy, goes down smooth. I'm enjoying that. And it's led to me putting Night Country, True Detective on the back burner until I think we're done with season 1, which to my detriment maybe, but still. Still working through Kentucky Route Zero. I'm thinking I might do a mini episode on that for the patrons later on at some point, but we'll see. I forgot to mention this last time, but last week Beck and I went to Baltimore to attend a found footage festival presentation or whatever with the fellows that run that, Nick and Joe. That I've mentioned that on this show many times. I'm a huge fan of their stuff. These guys, they just comb through VHS tapes for the funniest shit. They recut it. And it's stuff that I really love. I really love their weekly show, VCR Party. I'm a Melinda, as we're called. And I got to see these guys live do their thing at the CryptCon Video Convention. I'm sorry, I'm getting that wrong. But it's basically a convention for people who collect VHS tapes. And like there's a fuck ton of like vendors with a shit ton of VHS tapes. And they screened The Thing. They screened The Blob. It was a nice little time at a cool little brewery in Baltimore, and I'm forgetting the brewery's name. So shout out to all that. That was a lot of fun. I recommend if you guys get a chance to see the Found Footage Fest in person, that you take the plunge. It's worth it. I think it was like $15. It was great. Let's see. Also watched a true crime documentary limited series called American Nightmare. Did you guys watch that one by any chance?
No, I saw that pop up on Netflix though.
No, I don't think so.
It's pretty new. So I watched that one, and I don't want to say too much because that story, in Beck's words, Beck saw it before I did, and they're like, this is a true life Fargo story. It's not true in the sense that they say Fargo is true. It's a true story that is like a Fargo script. And I was like, well, fuck. I mean, I got to check this out. And damned if they weren't right. It's really, really fucking interesting. It's very bleak in many ways. Lots of trigger warnings in that one. Sexual assault is in the mix. So be aware of that. But man, it was very, very fucking interesting and very, very sad. And it will not leave you feeling good about the police, as most true crimes stories tend to do. So there you go. Rewatched Killing of a Sacred Deer after our Poor Things discussion, and man, that movie is fucking... It's the most tense movie with the most bland line readings of all time. It's like people reading fucking the dictionary at you.
It's a weird
but they're
one.
saying the most heinous shit in the world. And I didn't know this until after this viewing. It's the second time I've seen it, that it's based on some sort of mythology, and I haven't looked it up really, but like I had no idea, and I was like, that makes so much more sense to me that this is like a retelling of an old tale of some kind. I thought it was just like completely batshit bananas. Anyway, so there's that.
Yeah,
I watched,
it still is.
I mean, it still is, yes. Zone of Interest. I got to see that this weekend, and for those who don't know, it's a film. It's nominated for an Oscar as of like today, for Best Picture, I think. And it's about basically like I don't know if you call him a warden, but like the higher up, the guy leading Auschwitz, and his family living adjacent to the camp in this like lap of luxury, beautiful summer home with beautiful garden and a pool and all this stuff. And like watching his family go about their day. It's very like, I don't know, there's like no close-ups in this movie. It's like very like distant. It's almost like trying to document it as if it was a documentary in some ways, but it's still shot beautifully. But like ultimately, like, I don't know, I liked it, and I thought like it was very prescient and all that stuff. It made some weird artistic choices at a couple of places that I wasn't sure about. And ultimately, I said this to you guys before we started recording, but like I'm not totally convinced that I got a ton more out of it than I got just from watching the trailer. Like the premise is the strength of this movie, and there's a lot more strengths to it, but you can also see most of those strengths in the trailer as well. There's a few additional things in it that you don't see in the trailer, but you're pretty much buying what the trailer's selling you. So I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about it. I wouldn't call it a best picture myself, but it is an interesting movie, and it's very fucking bleak in the grand scheme of humanity. More bleakness. Here we go. Let's see. I think last but not least, here we go. Spider-Man. I finally got the chance to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I hadn't seen it yet. I'd been sitting on it for a while, and goddamn, I'm not breaking anybody's, not breaking the cherry on this one. That animation is fucking incredible and so versatile. Like, I can't believe they did 2.5 hours in one of the most like beautiful styles I've ever seen in as few years as they did. They must have worked those motherfuckers so hard. I'm a little bit
They worked him
worried
hard.
that they pushed them too hard.
Oh
but
yeah, they worked him
it's
hard.
fucking beautiful to look at. The story is compelling enough. It's not quite as compelling as the first one. And the ending being what the ending is, a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth about that.
Me too, dude. I was like, wait, what the fuck?
I love that the Spot is a character in this because I don't know. I love the elevation of like relatively unknown characters that are when they're done well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I liked it a lot. No notes really besides those ones. So that's it for me.
Cool. Juice, what you been watching?
Well, my dad threw on Jurassic Park one night, and of course, I sat down and watched it because it's Jurassic Park. I mean, what are you gonna do? Change your schedule, you know?
Gotta see our girl Patricia Tallman.
Cancel my meetings.
Yeah. So I watched Jurassic Park. It's great. And also too, it's kind of fun. Like, listen to my dad talk about it. He was just like, man, I love this first part where they're like seeing the dinosaurs and shit. It's like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's great. So yeah, still amazing. Fantastic movie. Been keeping up with that True Detective, man. They're really pushing that Thing agenda. No, I'm just they are, but they're doing it well. I mean, I'm kind of hoping that they like have their own kind of thing too, but we're just 2 episodes in so far, and I'm very intrigued about the story. The location is cool, and so yeah, it's good so far. I watched Night Swim. I did a mini cast on that. That was technically my first horror movie of 2024. Kind of like in this year, I guess, at least. But yeah, it was something. I got a mini cast coming on that, so don't want to spoil that. It's got the dude from it's got what's his name.
Wyatt
so I am
Russell?
going to spoil yeah, I'm going to spoil a little bit of this. So this is something I mentioned, but that dude, this is not an Elijah Wood situation where I think like, oh, something might be up or like something's going on or he just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I just don't like that dude's face. I don't like his face.
God
I
damn.
don't like it. So he is a very hard person to just watch. His performance is fine. It has absolutely nothing to do with his acting style. I don't like his face.
Damn, you just hate Wyatt Russell.
He looks exactly like his dad, and you don't have that problem.
I don't think so. I don't think he does.
They have. They're similar. They're they
similar.
Look
Very similar to me.
Yeah, but
Damn.
yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
It's like 99% the same to me.
I watched. So continuing on my journey, I watched Nausicaa. In the Princess Nausicaa, or in the Valley of the Wind, or whatever.
I don't know that Ghibli. It's Ghibli, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So this is the one that actually Franklin recommended last week. He was talking a little bit about it. And actually I made a note because I was going to check in with you to say, Randy, have you seen it? Because this came out in the early to mid 80s. And dude, they heavily were inspired in Tears of the Kingdom with the depths with this one, because there's this area called like the Toxic Jungle that's got the same color palette. It's got the kind of mushroomish trees are in there, and like some of the little creatures that are down there. I was like, holy shit, this looks like the depths. So
I haven't seen that at all. Actually, it's like I don't know. Like at this point, you've definitely seen more Ghibli movies than I have. I've only seen a handful.
I think this was my 7th one. I watched like 5 back to back, boom, 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 and then I waited and I watched and knocked out Castle in the Sky, and then this one, Nausicaa. So I'm at 7 now. It's about, I think there's around like 20. So around 30%. But I think I can get them all knocked out this year, and then I'll make like maybe a little list or something ranking them on like my letterbox or something. But this one, this one was a little bit step up to me from Castle in the Sky. What I did realize though is both of those were more the earlier 80s. And both of those, more than any of the other ones that I watched, seemed to show their age a little more. And some of it is like music choices, like animation style and stuff. They still look fantastic and they look amazing, but it's like something that I'm just like not as keen on, so it just like feels just like a little bit lower step down, because even I think Princess Mononoke or whatever was 97 or late 90s.
Yeah,
so yeah, it just I think that age is kind of like drops them just a little scotch for me, but still good. They've all been good. None of these have been bad. And then finally, like I mentioned before, I watched the OG Night of the Living Dead, which is still good. So I got to watch Jurassic Park and Night of the Living Dead and Princess Nausicaa, which are just like, I got to watch some great films this week.
Solid.
Yeah, which might, watching this film too, where we're like, yeah, it's okay. Maybe it's like, maybe I shouldn't have gone so hard on some amazing films. But yeah, so Bob, what you been watching this week? Okay.
Some pretty good stuff. I revisited the original The Terminator for the first. I haven't seen that since like '95 or some shit. Like it's been a while. Holds up. It's really good. Good.
You
shit.
did that recently too, didn't you, Juice?
I mentioned it last week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I recently watched. I can't remember. I mentioned this I think on last week. I watched Last Action Hero, and then ever since then I just want to see like all these fucking Schwarzenegger movies. So I watched The Terminator. I watched Twins as well, which I don't know if I've ever seen that all the way through.
I've never seen
Danny
it.
DeVito
That one.
and Arnold Schwarzenegger are twin brothers. It's weird, man.
I love that they just had that little like duo of movies where they were like buddy comedies where it's the joke is just that like something like physically very improbable is happening.
Yeah.
It's very strange because there's this in Junior where Arnold's pregnant and it's like
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Danny DeVito's in that too?
Is he in that too? Fucking A.
Really? Where he's, oh my God, I remember that. Holy shit.
It's
weird.
It's some weird shit. Twins like has like they thoroughly explain how they're related in the beginning of the movie, and it's a bunch of sperm mixed together is what it is.
Oh no.
That's
just mix it on up.
A little cocktail,
dude. They show the cup. It's there's a lot. There's a lot. But yeah, Terminator holds up. Twins is interesting. It's just like a product of its time.
Maybe we can get a little straight chilling cocktail going, boys. We'll just we'll say maybe we'll get some triplets.
Anybody looking to be intimidated? We got
that is one of the nastiest
Jesus
things.
Christ. We got to keep the show going when we die, boys. So we got to have someone carry triplets, obviously.
And that's the only thing to go about it.
My progeny.
Don't touch me.
My boy Bod.
My son, Bod Chilling.
Randu Chillin'.
That's their last name.
It's their last name.
Oh, shit. Well.
Oh, damn.
You can watch Twins if you want to. I also finished up if you want to. I finished up Fargo season 5. It's fucking great. That show's just fucking great. It's a great show. Watch it. Watch all of it if you haven't. I revisited Mad Max Fury Road.
Hell yeah.
Alice had not seen that one before, and I was like, you're gonna like it. So we threw it on. And dude, that movie is like every 3 minutes, you're just like, how did they physically do that? Like the stunts are out of this fucking world, man. It's insane. It's just super impressive. It's just, I don't know, it's mind blowing. Like the visuals are just, I don't know, they're insane. Everybody knows this. Everybody's seen this movie.
I have not seen that since theaters.
Okay. That was like one of the best theater experiences I can remember, honestly.
It's wild, man. Yeah. The dude with a guitar on the front of the fucking
That's what always buzzed my mind too. Man. I always just like when I watch clips and I'm like, the mind that just somehow made this all work too. It just works. It just does. It's yeah.
I forgot Nick Holt was in it entirely.
Oh yeah.
Totally forgot.
what is it? I think it's a series that they're coming out. That's the Furiosa series, or maybe it's a sequel movie.
Yeah,
it's a movie. Okay.
Prequel.
With what's her dick?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Taylor-Joy. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not
trailer
super
looks-
stoked about that, boys.
It's gonna be tough to recapture.
Yeah.
I mean, that one kind of came out of
doesn't look
nowhere.
nearly as good, like visually. Yeah.
Well, the original one, like the original, the Fury Road, nobody expected that to be what it was. Nobody, like, it's a sequel to some movies that even the people who loved them were largely like, not clamoring necessarily for another one, as far as I know. I mean, I'm sure there were many people that were, but it was not a movie it's a movie that often largely receded into the background, and it just had no right to be that good. It just really did.
Yeah.
It's a wild movie. It's a fun ride. Definitely worth checking out.
So did Alice like it?
Yeah, she did.
Good.
I also have been watching the new season of True Detective. Night Country is what it's called. 2 episodes in, and I am really, really enjoying it. So looking forward to seeing more of that. If you like The Thing or 30 Days a Night, I mean, you get a lot of those in this for sure. I've also been watching a lot of Chopped. I don't know have I mentioned this on the show before? There's a show. It's
Chopped, the cooking show?
Yeah,
you
I don't
did.
know that you have.
Oh, really? Maybe you mentioned it personally to me then.
I could be remembering too. I mean, that's kind of my thing.
I also don't remember. So I've been watching a lot of Chopped. It's like a cooking challenge show. There's like 4 chefs on there. They're given a basket with 4 mystery ingredients in the basket, and they have a certain amount of time to make a certain dish. They got to make an app, a main, and a dessert. Those are like the 3 rounds, and each round one of the cooks gets chopped, and there's judges. There's a panel that taste the food and discuss who did what the best, and it's just super interesting and entertaining, and watching these people cook who are really fucking good at their craft, and they'll have literally 20 minutes to make an appetizer out of octopus, black licorice, sweet tarts, and marinara sauce or something. I mean, you can
that's a Korean specialty,
dude.
That's
What is
the
that
sweet
called?
dish?
Authentic Korean sweet tarts.
The sweet tartopus. Everybody
it's called
loves
Anyang.
Totally. So yeah, Chopped is awesome. Also, there's 700 episodes.
Damn.
Yeah, that's one of those shows that's incredibly cheap to produce. It's reality TV. So there's just billions of them.
Yeah, they give away cash prizes, but obviously they're making a profit because it is endless. It's wild, dude. It's fucking wild. Anyway, yeah, that's all I've been watching. We don't have any voicemails this week, but if you guys are listening and would like to call in and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, you can hit us up at 904-638-3231. Do you boys have any prompts you want to throw out for next week's show?
It couldn't hurt to call every once in a while. We worry and we worry.
If you loved us,
let us know you care.
Next week we're talking about a new flick. What can we talk about with that one?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to ask questions about that. It doesn't have to be related to that.
It doesn't. No.
You can let us know what's your favorite zombie movie. What's your least favorite zombie movie? Rank the Romero trilogy or sixology. I don't know.
Are there 6?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's. Well, yeah. He made 3 and then he made 3 more.
Is this one included or no?
No, 6
his
movies directed by Romero that are zombie movies. Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. Rank 'em.
Yeah.
Run
sure.
them down. Or just call in and say, hey, say whatever the fuck you want. We don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Fucking say
How would
something.
you survive the zombie apocalypse? What are you doing? What's your strategy?
Which of the straight chilling crew would survive and who would die first? Right?
Yeah.
Who would die?
Who's
in what
surviving?
order? Yeah. Call in with that. Yeah.
Who's most likely to survive? Who's least likely?
Who's
Who's the most likely to survive, and who's the yo-yos?
Who's checking the zombie oil on straight chilling? Let us know.
Well,
that goes without saying. 904-638-3231. Next week, we are going to be talking about that new hotness, The Seeding, from your boy Barnaby Clay.
yeah. Speaking of seeding, also name the straight chillin' boys' little kids, I guess.
little
Boys are. You get a chance to just a little giveaway.
You want one of the chilling boys?
You got to carry all
This
three.
one.
It's all or none.
This one
That's
here
your
is
prize.
called
You get to name
Randeezy
them.
Chilling.
Randy chilling. Good.
That's mine for some reason.
For some reason. Like that Rocco's Modern Life bit where fucking Filbert's kids is all turtles, cats, and one heifer.
No. God. Stained.
Friends share, guys. Get over it. All right. It's a new world. It's a
goddamn.
modern world.
Now it's getting dark, okay? It's getting too dark.
Now it's
My boy Randeezy's dork over here. So yeah, check out the seating. Like I said at the top of the show, that's going to be on VOD everywhere. It's also getting a limited theatrical release. If you can check it out in the theater, check it out in the theater.
check it out in the theater. Yeah.
I don't know
Please
if it's
do.
coming to Jacksonville. I looked earlier today and like they didn't really have their show times up, so I'm not totally
Or
sure.
Friday. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's, okay.
Yeah, a little early in the week still. So hopefully it is coming to theaters. But yeah, check out the seating and get ready for next week's show. Until then, find us on all the social medias. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast and we'll pop right up. If you want to join in our daily Slack channel conversations, we talk about the movie of the week as well as TV shows. We're talking about True Detective. We got a new channel about that. Video games, recipes, cute pictures of our pets. Just hit us up on one of those social media outlets. Let us know you want to join, and I'll send you a link so you can join in on the fun. And that's going to do it for us this week at Straight Chilling. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.